The moment came like a quiet storm, one that no Hollywood spotlight or award stage could ever hope to illuminate. Denzel Washington, a man whose name has become synonymous with powerful performances, stoic courage, and magnetic on-screen presence, was unexpectedly humbled in a small hospital room, far from the glitz and glamour that most of the world associates with him. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of antiseptic, the low hum of machines, and the nervous whispers of a family wrestling with an unimaginable burden. And there, standing at the foot of the boy's bed, Denzel wasn't an actor, a celebrity, or a headline. He was simply a man reaching out to another human being in their darkest hour. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. The story begins in the quiet aftermath of a devastating fire that had left a young boy hospitalized for a series of life-saving surgeries. The boy, only 8 years old, had survived against odds that would have crushed the spirits of even the bravest adults. But surviving the fire was only the first battle. The financial toll of the surgeries, the ongoing care, and the mounting medical bills had driven his family to the brink. They were drowning in debt, and every phone call, every bill, every whispered discussion of, "How are we going to pay for this?" felt like a fresh wave crashing over their already fragile morale. How could anyone possibly prepare for such a situation? And yet, amidst this chaos, a miracle was quietly forming. Denzel didn't just hear about the boy's plight, he felt it. While some celebrities might quietly donate to a cause and let the transaction disappear into the ether, Denzel chose something far more personal. He didn't just wire money or send a check. He made the journey himself, stepping into the hospital, past the bustling nurses and the concerned doctors, directly into the heart of a family whose courage had been tested beyond measure. He wanted them to see that they were not alone, that there was someone who not only understood the weight of their struggle, but was willing to share it in the most tangible way possible. What happened next was a moment that no script could have predicted. A scene so raw and unpolished that even Denzel's years of portraying heroes on screen couldn't have prepared him. The little boy, sensing the presence of someone extraordinary yet unassuming, shuffled forward with the shy bravery only a child can muster. From his small hands, he extended a simple, hand-drawn picture. In it, Denzel was no longer the man who had won countless accolades or commanded attention on red carpets. He was a superhero, caped and smiling, pulling the boy from the raging flames. There were no special effects, no CGI, no cinematic score, just the honest, unfiltered imagination of a child expressing gratitude in the purest way imaginable. The silence that fell over the room was deafening. For a man whose life has been filled with standing ovations, for someone who has delivered lines that have moved audiences to tears, it was this raw, human connection that broke him. Denzel admitted, later, that no Oscar, no Golden Globe, no Lifetime Achievement Award could ever compare to the gift of that hand-drawn picture. It wasn't the recognition of talent or skill, it was the recognition of humanity, of the ability to make a tangible difference in the life of someone who needed it most. But Denzel's generosity didn't end with a single visit or a kind word. Behind the scenes, quietly, he took steps that would alter the course of that family's future. The staggering medical bills, which had loomed over them like an unrelenting storm cloud, were erased. Every last cent, every ledger line that represented sleepless nights and anxious days, was wiped clean. The relief that washed over the family was immense, yet the moment that defined the encounter remained the boy handing over that drawing. The image of a hero not on the silver screen, but in real life, saving him from the flames. It's easy to forget that behind the carefully curated images of celebrity, there are real people, with hearts capable of empathy, courage, and love that extends far beyond contracts and film sets. Denzel's actions remind us that heroism isn't always about grand gestures in the public eye. It can be quiet, personal, and profoundly transformative. How often do we overlook the simple ways we can make a difference in someone's life, assuming that impact requires fame, fortune, or accolades? Sometimes, all it takes is showing up, lending a hand, and acknowledging someone's struggle in a way that feels genuine and personal. Imagine being that child, lying in a hospital bed, feeling vulnerable and scared, and suddenly seeing someone who could have easily remained distant kneel down to your level, look you in the eyes, and tell you that you are seen, that you matter. Imagine the hope that blossoms in the chest of a parent who has been weighed down by fear and financial strain, seeing a human being, someone they only knew through headlines and television, extend not just generosity, but empathy and understanding. These are the moments that redefine what it means to be wealthy, to be powerful, to be influential. Denzel's gift was not merely financial. It was emotional, spiritual, and profoundly human. For the boy, the drawing became a treasure far beyond paper and crayons. It symbolized safety, compassion, and the extraordinary kindness of a man who chose to act when most would merely feel pity. And for Denzel, the encounter was a humbling reminder that the truest accolades come not from awards or critics, but from the raw, honest expressions of those whose lives we touch. One hand-drawn picture, created with crayons and innocence, had the power to humble a man who had faced some of the most intense moments imaginable both on and off-screen. In reflecting on this story, we are invited to consider our own lives and the ways we can make a difference. It doesn't require fame, millions of dollars, or a film crew to create profound impact. Sometimes, it's about showing up in person, lending a listening ear, or offering support when it matters most. What would happen if more of us approached the world with that kind of heart? How many unseen battles are being fought around us, and what small action could bring light to those shadows? Denzel's visit is also a testament to the ripple effect of genuine kindness. While the media often highlights scandal, conflict, or controversy, moments like this remind us that humanity thrives in quiet acts of courage and love. For the family, the boy, and even Denzel himself, the experience was transformative. A reaffirmation that heroism isn't measured in box office numbers or award statuettes, but in the lives touched and hearts uplifted. The story leaves us with an essential takeaway. Never underestimate the power of presence. It's not the grandeur of a gesture, but the sincerity behind it that resonates, that heals, that inspires. Denzel didn't need cameras, social media, or public accolades. He needed only his compassion, his empathy, and the courage to act. And in doing so, he taught all of us a lesson that can't be learned in classrooms or workshops, only experienced in real human connections. As we step away from this story, it's impossible not to feel a surge of hope and inspiration. Denzel Washington, in that quiet hospital room, showed that heroism is available to everyone who dares to care deeply, act boldly, and extend love without expectation. The boy may have seen a superhero in him, but in truth, Denzel reminded the world that the capacity for heroism resides in all of us, waiting to be awakened by empathy, courage, and a simple act of showing up when it matters most. So, what's your takeaway? How can you show up for someone today, in ways big or small, that might just transform their world? Who knows, the next hand-drawn picture of gratitude might be waiting for you, ready to teach you lessons no award ever could. Share your thoughts, your moments of giving, or the ways you've been touched by others, because these stories are what remind us that the world can still be profoundly, beautifully human. This isn't just a story about Denzel Washington. It's a story about all of us, and the extraordinary power of kindness when it is real, immediate, and heartfelt. And if that doesn't leave you inspired to make a difference today, consider the little boy's innocent eyes and the drawing that melted one of the most iconic men in Hollywood, and ask yourself, how can I be someone's superhero, even just for a moment?